Hello, my name's Clara and I'm 29 years old. I recently gave birth, but everything that happened before that has been a roller coaster ride, to say the least. Let me start from the beginning. I moved away from home to attend college. After I graduated, I moved to a smaller town to work. At this place, I met my best friend, Ava, and it's been only 5 years since I've known her, but it feels like I've known her since the start of time itself. Aside from Ava, I also happened to meet my now ex-husband, Brad. I met Brad at our local bar. He was in town for business, and Ava and I were out drinking to unwind from the stress of the week. Brad noticed me and came to talk to us. Now, Brad is a very handsome man, and I was beyond flattered that he showed interest in me. Brad and I exchanged numbers that night. The more we talked, the more I liked him. He told me that he lived in my town, but had to travel now and then for work. So whenever we had to meet, we would have to plan it at least a week in advance. While I was very happy about the relationship we were developing, Ava began to get a little concerned. She did not like the age difference between Brad and me. We had about 9 years between us, and while I do admit that he was a lot older than guys I'd usually go for, I didn't think it was going to affect our relationship in any way. Ava respected my decisions, though, and stayed out of the relationship. Brad and I made our relationship official about 8 months after we began seeing each other, and after another year of dating, I asked Brad to move into my place. Now that I think about it, in all our time dating, Brad never once offered for us to go over to his apartment. He always had some excuse or another, and I naively believed him. Anyway, he moved in with me, and we were happy. But about 4 months after he moved in with me, I began to feel sick. So I went to the doctor, and they ran some blood tests on me, only to tell me that I was pregnant. I had never planned to have kids, but I was happy about that news. I loved Brad, and I was excited to have children with him. After I got back home, I prepared a huge dinner for the two of us to celebrate. When Brad got home from work, he looked surprised at the huge spread. "I have some big news to give you." "I can see that. There's a lot of food on the table. What is it?" "So, you know how I've been feeling very sick recently?" "Yes. Are you okay?" "Yeah, I went to the doctor, and after running a few tests, they concluded that I was pregnant." "What?" "Yes, I'm so excited about finally being able to have a child. I know I never brought it up with you, but I've always wanted to have a child." That's great, honey." "What happened? Why do you not look so happy about this?" "It's just, aren't we having a baby a little too soon?" "Why would you think that? I mean, we're doing great financially, and we've been together for long enough, don't you think?" "I guess." You can't seriously be upset that I'm pregnant, right? You do realize that it isn't my fault I'm pregnant?" "You're right. I know that. I'm just worried, that's all." "Why are you worried? If it's about being a parent, we'll just read a few books and we'll learn as we go." "No, it's not that." "Then what is it?" "I just got some bad news from work." "Oh no. Did you get laid off?" "No, but I'm up for a promotion." "Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Why is that bad news?" "Well, in order to get that promotion, I'll have to travel a lot more, which means that I won't be able to be here with you a lot." "Oh no, even more than before. So I'll have to do this all alone?" "I'm afraid so." "Is there no way that you could turn this down or maybe cut back on flying?" "I would love to, but you know that having extra money will only be better for us, especially since we're going to have a child now." "You're right, I guess." "Hey, cheer up. I'll be here as much as I can, okay? Why don't we think about this later? Let's celebrate our good news right now. The more I think about it, the more excited I am to be having a child with you. Really? Absolutely. Now, why don't we dig into this awesome dinner? I was very put off by Brad's reaction to the pregnancy. I didn't like how his face fell and how he tried to cover up for it in the worst way possible. And I was even more upset that he had to travel more. I made it through that dinner without thinking about my feelings too much, and I made it through the next few days the same way as well, because I wanted to enjoy my time with Brad. When it came time for him to leave, I was very upset to find out that he'd be gone for 3 weeks. That was the longest I'd gone without seeing him since we started seeing each other. All my emotions were too much for me to handle on my own, so I confided in Ava. She was very happy for me when I told her I was pregnant, and she also provided me with a shoulder to cry on when I got too sad thinking about how alone I'd be during my pregnancy. That was when she asked me why Brad and I didn't get married. Now, if there was one thing that Brad made absolutely clear from the start, it was that he did not want to get married. And I was okay with that because I wasn't looking for marriage either. But with the pregnancy and all that, I couldn't help but want to get married. So when Brad came back after his trip, I talked to him about it. Welcome back. I missed you so much. I missed you too, darling. How are you? Are you and the baby doing all right? Anything that we need to be worried about? No, everything's fine. I'm doing great. I'm only a little lonelier than usual. Once again, I'm so sorry that I have to travel even more now. It's okay. Being alone for longer has made me think of something, and I wanted to ask you about it. Okay, go ahead and ask away. Well, I was wondering, now that I'm pregnant and we're going to have a child and all that, why don't we get married? Married? You want to get married? Yeah, I mean, don't you think that now is as good a time to get married? Sweetie, you know how I feel about marriage. I know, but it'll just be nice, you know. It'll be a lot more official for me, and I would love to call you my husband. Wouldn't you like to call me your wife as well? I would absolutely love to call you my wife, but weddings are just such a whole ordeal. And then there's all the paperwork and family meetings and all that. I just don't want to deal with any of that. We can deal with every one of them. Hold on, all of them sound so pathetic, as in the reasons you're giving me sound so stupid. Do you not want to get married to me or something? No, why would you say that? Of course I want to get married to you. I just have a lot on my plate right now, and getting married is the last thing that I want to do. All I'm hearing is that you don't love me enough. I'm carrying your child, and all you can care about is your wants and needs. What about mine? Whoa, calm down, sweetie. You don't get to tell me that. I'm the one that's sitting home alone, and I never had a problem or even complained about you being gone for so long. You could at least just fulfill my one wish for us. I think your pregnancy hormones are making you act all crazy. Don't you dare blame my emotions on my hormones. I know what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it. All right, I'm sorry, Clara. Sweetie, I love you so much and I will marry you, okay? But if you could just compromise with me, do you think we could have a courthouse wedding? I really want it to be a very intimate moment between us, and I don't want to socialize with anyone on that day. I don't mind that, I guess. Then we can get married anytime you want. Are you sure? Absolutely. How does the day after tomorrow sound? You could invite a friend or two of yours to be our witness if you like. All right. The day after tomorrow it is. I was so close to bursting into tears of frustration when I thought that Brad was going to say no, but I was glad that he ended up saying yes. Of course, I was not too happy about the courthouse marriage aspect, but I figured I could make peace with it because I was still getting what I wanted. The next morning, I called Ava to tell her the big news. Hey, Ava, how are you and the baby doing? We're great. That's good to hear. Has Brad come back? Yeah, he did last night. He's gone grocery shopping right now. Ah, that's good. So what's up? So I caught a lot about your question about why Brad and I weren't getting married, and I realized that I wanted to get married, so I brought it up with Brad, and he agreed to us getting married. Oh my gosh, Clara, that's wonderful. I'm so happy for you. Yeah, we're getting married tomorrow at the courthouse. Will you come along to be a witness? Hold on, tomorrow at the courthouse? Clara, are you sure that you want to get married in such a rush? Of course. What do you mean? What I mean is, I know you, and I know that you love big celebrations. This is not something you'd usually do. I know it really isn't, but Brad doesn't want to have a big party because he doesn't want to socialize a lot. Really? And you don't find that a bit odd, especially since he spends most of his days traveling and socializing for business? I did, but he said that he wanted it to be a very intimate, special moment for us, and I'm guessing that all that socializing has made him tired, which is why he wants a quiet event for us. He wants it to be so intimate he can still invite your closest family members, and even you know that your reason for his need to not socialize is stupid. What are you trying to imply, Ava? Just spit it out. Look, I'm not trying to be mean or say anything to hurt you. All I want is the best for you, and Brad seems a little wishy-washy about the whole thing. I mean, first, he wasn't thrilled about your pregnancy, then suddenly he has to work a lot more, and then he won't even have a proper wedding with you. I love that you're concerned for me, but I'm happy. Isn't that all that matters? Sure, but I just don't want you getting hurt later on. I won't. I know what I'm doing. All right then. I'm sorry if I crossed the line. It's okay. So, are you coming with Brad and me to the courthouse tomorrow? Of course I am. This is my best friend's wedding. I'm not going to miss it for the world. Great. We'll pick you up around 10 in the morning. See you soon. And congratulations on your engagement, Clara. Thank you. I'm not going to lie. I was a little peeved by Ava's response. I couldn't exactly place why at that time, but now, in hindsight, I realize it's because she was nitpicking the very same things I was trying to not think about, because I desperately wanted to be happy. The next day, Brad and I got married at the courthouse, and Ava bore witness to it. I thought that it was still a wonderful day, even though it was nothing like what I would have wanted my wedding to be. Two of the closest people to me were there with me, and that was all that mattered. Of course, when my family found out that I practically eloped, they were not very happy about it. When they found out that I'd married someone who was 9 years older than me, they were even more unhappy, but they too were respectful of my choices and wanted me to be happy. The only thing that did make them happy was the fact that I was going to give them a grandchild soon. After that, Brad's traveling only got more frequent. He'd be gone for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and I'd have to manage myself. Ava would stay over whenever she was free. I could feel her disapproval of Brad grow with each passing day, and I was grateful that she never said much of a word about it. Brad tried his best to be there for me, and I did appreciate that. We'd call every night, and he'd text me every time he was free to check in on me. When he was there with me physically, he made sure to do everything around the house and take care of me to make sure the pregnancy was progressing well. However, since he wasn't there most of the time, Ava accompanied me to my regular checkups. When I hit the 6-month mark of my pregnancy, Brad was there with me, and he accompanied me to the hospital. Now, before I delve into the rest of the story, I want to tell you that the hospital that I usually went to for my pregnancy checkups and overall reproductive health checkups was a women's only hospital that bordered the neighboring town. I say that because when we got there, one of the nurses who was attending to me slipped me a note and urged me to read it while Brad was occupied with some paperwork. I opened it and it said, "Don't trust your husband. He is hiding something." Before I had time to say anything, Brad returned and I was left to deal with whatever it was that the note said. When I got back home, though, I found that I could not stop thinking about the note. My heart and mind were racing with what the nurse could have meant, and finally, just to ease my mind, I decided to look into it. After Brad fell asleep, I took his phone, unlocked it to find any evidence to support what the nurse was saying. What I found shocked me to my core, and I didn't know how to react. I just quietly left the room and drove over to Ava's place. "Oh my God, what happened? Why are you crying?" "You were right. You were absolutely right." "Okay, well, as much as I love being right, could you tell me what I was right about?" "About Brad being weird about things with me." "What do you mean?" "Yesterday, Brad accompanied me to the hospital for my routine checkup, and the nurse passed me a note telling me that Brad was hiding something from me." I obviously looked at her like she'd grown a second head. "What in the world? Did she say anything after that?" "No, but only because Brad was by my side after that the entire time. When I got back home, I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I did something that I'm not proud of. Please tell me you went through his phone. Believe me, that's not a bad thing when Brad has given you more than enough reasons to do it." "I did, and I found out that he's been lying to me this entire time." "Oh God, how could I have been so naive and dumb?" "Okay, you need to calm down and tell me what you found out." "The place he travels to all the time is the next town to meet his other family. He's been traveling there more often because his other wife is also pregnant. That's why he wasn't so happy about me being pregnant as well." "He has another family?" "No, let me correct myself. I'm the other family he has. I'm his affair partner." "How could I have not seen all the issues? How could I have been so blind?" "First of all, I'm so sorry that you have to go through all this. You don't deserve this at all. No matter how stupid you think you've been, none of this is your fault. Brad is a despicable person and he deserves to be punished. That being said, you need to stop feeling sorry for yourself. At least let me feel bad for a little while, Ava. I just found out that my entire relationship has been a lie. You can feel bad after you expose Brad for the disgusting fraud that he is. You can't let him go this way. And you need to tell his wife because there's no reason that he should be able to have a happy life after this." "You're right. When is Brad leaving?" "Tomorrow, but I don't think I can look him in the eye right now or be lovey-dovey with him." "You need to suck it up for today. After he leaves tomorrow, I'll come over. We'll drive to his house so we can expose him, okay?" "Yeah. Thank you for having my back at all times." "Of course. What are friends for?" I let Ava comfort me for a little longer after that, and then I went back home. I felt like a hollow shell of a person the entire time after I found out that Brad had turned me into his side chick. I really did feel like an idiot for being so blinded by my feelings for him. I don't remember how I managed to fall asleep that night next to him or how I managed to play off my pain the next morning. I do vaguely remember telling him that I was very tired because of the pregnancy, and he let me be after that. As soon as he was gone, I called Ava over. I got dressed and met her in my driveway. On the way to Brad's place, I did a little more digging into his family. Brad married his wife Helena 12 years ago, and they shared 2 kids. They had met when they were in college, and they got married almost immediately after. It made me sick to my stomach that Brad could let go of such a long history in this manner, and also play with so many people's lives without having an ounce of remorse. When we reached Brad's town, we asked around a bunch to finally get his address, and when we got there, I felt so nervous about meeting him and his wife. But one look at his driveway told me that he was not at home. That made me contemplate going over and knocking on the door anyway, but in the end, I decided that I needed to tell Helena what her husband had been doing behind her back. I walked over to the front door and nervously knocked on it. Helena opened the door as she looked confused. Hello, who are you? Hi, I'm so sorry, but does Brad live here by any chance? Yes, he's my husband. Why? Well, I don't know how to tell you this gently, but Brad's cheating on you. What? Who even are you? How can you just knock on a complete stranger's door and say something like this? No, wait. Look, here is a legal document showing that Brad and I are married. And we only got married 2 months ago. What? What is this? Hasn't Brad been traveling for work a lot more recently? Well, yes, but I didn't think that he would be. I'm so sorry that you had to find out this way. I only found out yesterday that I was his affair partner, and I'm so sorry that he's caused you so much distress, especially since you're pregnant. No. I'm sorry that he lied to you and made you the other woman. Besides, this must be just as devastating for you as well, considering you're pregnant too. I have to ask, is that his baby? Unfortunately, yes. Wow. The absolute nerve of that man. Don't you worry about anything. I'm going to take care of him. He's going to regret messing with my family and you. Thank you so much. And I really am sorry that I had to tell you this in this manner while you're already going through a lot physically. Nonsense. You saved me a lot of pain. Thank you for coming here to tell me. Of course. Why don't you give me your number and we can remain in touch? I'll keep you updated on all the ways that I've ruined his life. That would be wonderful. I know that I apologized a lot to Helena, but I was genuinely upset that I had to deliver the news of Brad's double life this way. It was especially worse because she was older than me and her pregnancy was probably a risky one. I didn't want this to break her and result in the loss of her child, but Helena proved to be a lot tougher than I gave her credit for. After we met her, Ava and I checked into a motel nearby so I could get some rest. I was finally able to get some peaceful sleep now that a huge weight was off my shoulders. I woke up and still felt heavy when I remembered my reality, but at least I knew that I had at least done the right thing. Ava and I left for home that night. On the way back home, I decided that I was done with Brad for good, so I blocked him everywhere. I didn't want him to reach out to me in any way, and I didn't want to be able to contact him either, in case I missed what we were a little too much. And that proved to be a good thing. I also made sure to pack up all of Brad's stuff that was in my home and put it in the storage room. I was sure that he would come over one day to yell at me for ruining his life, and I kept everything ready for him to take back. Just a few days after I met Helena, she texted me and asked me to send her all the proof I had of Brad and me being together. I did so without any questions. Then, just 2 days later, she texted me again to tell me that she handed Brad the divorce papers. This caught him very off guard, especially because she chose to do it at a family gathering they were having. So everybody got to see what a douchebag Brad was, and everyone in their families was disgusted by him. Apparently his parents disowned him and took him off their wills just a few days later. And I also found out that Brad had been working for Helena's father. When her father found out about Brad's affair, he was so mad that he not only fired Brad, but also used his connections to make sure that Brad would never get a job in this city. On top of that, Helena promised me that she would make the divorce hard for Brad. She was going to fight for full custody of the kids, and she was going to demand child support for all of them. Seeing her tackle all of this with so much grace and power, I felt like I could do the same thing too. So I asked her for a copy of her marriage certificate. I then asked Ava to take me to the marriage registrar, where I got Brad and my marriage annulled. I also filed a claim for child support from Brad. I was not letting him go easily either. He was going to pay in every sense of the word. All of this happened over a month and a half. In all that time, Brad didn't try to contact me even once. I know I blocked him everywhere, but he still could have reached out to me via email or even through Ava, but he didn't. He did finally reach out to me, though, after 2 months of no contact. He came over to my place. When I opened the door to him, I could tell he was about to burst with anger, but I put my hand up to shut him up. I walked over to my storeroom, grabbed all his things, and then dumped them at his feet. That only made him angrier. How did you find out? You mean, how did I find out that you've been living a double life when all the clues you ever left were that you were somehow always traveling for work? You were not happy about my pregnancy and you hesitated to get married? Did you go through my things or something? That is a gross invasion of my privacy. No, what's gross is your behavior. Did you really think you'd be able to get away with it for a long time? Why couldn't you have just confronted me about it? Why did you get Helena involved? I didn't see why she shouldn't have been informed about it. She deserved to know that the man she loved was a cheater and also married to another lady in the other town. Do you even know how much you've ruined my life? Oh yeah, I do. Helena gave me the blow-by-blow of what she did to ruin you. Are you two friends? Trauma does funny things to people. We ended up getting along really well, especially since we had someone to hate on and laugh at together. You two are sick. No, I don't think you have the right to say that. You destroyed and separated your family by having an affair. On top of that, you made me a part of it. You tricked me, and I have never felt more icky and disgusted with myself than I have when I found out that I was the other woman. You know more than anybody how much I hate cheaters and cheating, and you did just that. And you made me the side chick. You're disgusting. Get out of my life, and I hope for you nothing but the worst. I slammed the door shut in his face, and I finally felt like I was done with that chapter of my life. I finally got to have the closure I wanted, and I got to look cool during it as well. Of course, Brad did not leave immediately. But when he figured that I would not reopen the door just because he was yelling profanities at me, he left. And thankfully, that was the last I ever heard from him. I also did tell Helena about Brad's visit, and she was just as proud of me for standing up for myself as I was of her when she did the same thing. We did end up becoming really good friends after that. After the whole Brad situation calmed down a little, we realized that we were both almost the same time along in our pregnancy. No wonder Brad panicked when I told him that I was pregnant as well. We ended up giving birth to our children only a week apart from each other. I was overjoyed when I held my baby girl in my hands for the first time. I was thankfully not alone, as my family flew down to me so I could have help. My family was very upset for me, and they went above and beyond to support and be there for me. I made Ava the godmother of my child, and things are going great now. The last update I got from Helena about Brad's situation was that he had to move to another state so he could find a job. Both Helena's and my claims for child support got approved, and now Brad has to pay quite a bit for that. And you better believe we're going to hold him accountable if he even skips one payment. I know I've been through a lot right now, but if there's one thing this experience has taught me, it's that I'm a lot stronger than I thought. I'm excited to see what else life has to throw my way, and I can't wait to get through all of them with all the lovely people that have always had my back.